Virginia Lindsay of Ginger Cake Patterns and Design, and today I'm here to share with you how I made this really great tote bag. It's part of our series in collaboration with Organic Cotton Plus, a fabulous company that uses all organic materials and fabrics. And I really love this bag. It's a great use of fabrics, and I have these great big quilted handles, and there's tons of room in there, and you can use it for a picnic. I just used it at the beach for a week, and I'll share some pictures with you of that. So let's begin making it and have a lot of fun. First thing we're going to do is make those long quilted thick handles. So what you want to do is you want to iron the edges over 1/4 of an inch. Iron them under towards the wrong side on both edges. And then take your iron and fold it in half like this and press all the way down here. So you have a nice handle already, and the next thing we're going to do is add in the batting. And it's going to fit right in between these fabrics. I'm going to slip it underneath one of these little folds I made on one side and just fold the fabric all the way down like this. And then take the other piece, so go all the way down the whole thing, down all the way down, and then take this and fold it in. It's already pressed, so it should fold nicely, and just press it right like this, okay? And you can use pins to hold it down. I really like these evergreen craft clips to hold it, and you just clip all the way down to keep it in place. And then I'm gonna go over to my sewing machine, and the first I'm gonna sew down this edge right here, about 1/8 of an inch towards the edge, all the way down here. And then I'm going to come back and sew the same here, 1/8 of an inch, all the way down on this side. The batting, of course, will be already in between the layers. And then I'm going to take my, then I'm going to start again, and I'm going to sew 3 more lines. So you'll have 5 total lines stitched down this nice wide handle. And you're going to do that with both of the 2 handles. Okay, so you can see that the handles turned out really nice. And the next step we're going to do is attach them to the front piece. But I drew some lines on here I want to show you, if you can see. I drew this right here at 4 inches from the base. And I used my straight edge right here. And I put it down 4 inches from the base. I made a mark here. And then I measured in 6 inches here and made a mark, and 6 inches here and made a mark. And this is to line up the exterior handle and pocket assembly. So, and I also made this pocket piece, and the way I did that was it was a 10 by 18 inch piece of fabric. I folded this in half, and then to mark the halfway mark, and then I fused interfacing to 1/2 of this, and then I refolded and I top stitched all across the front right here at about 1/4 inch seam allowance, okay? And that is going to fit perfectly between those marks right there. So we want to leave that there. We want to put that here and pin it in place. And next we're going to pin the handle in place. So I want you to, well, before the handle, go ahead and baste the stitch right here and just go ahead and baste stitch all around. You can do the handle in 2 different ways. You can do the sort of traditional look where you attach it out here, just pin it nice, straight up and down, and that's going to look really good. But I'm going to try sort of a new, more modern look that I've been seeing on a lot of bags lately, and I'm going to take the handle and I'm going to slant it in. This is only about a 15-degree slant here, angle here, but I'm doing this because I think it'll make a little bit more interesting shape to the bag. You want to start all the way at the corner of the handle of the pocket right here, and put your handle over the stitches and pin it in place like this. You just want to come in far enough so that you get a little bit of extra interest here. So I'd say the pocket is about 2/3 of the way in on the handle. So the pocket edge is right here. So that's not too far in, but it still is going to give this kind of cute, modern looking pocket. And then do the same to the other side. Start over here at the edge. Make sure the selvage is underneath the line here. And have it be about 2/3 of the way right there. And then I'm just going to go over to my sewing machine and sew up this here, and then straight across, and then back down here and straight across, okay? And then on this side, up here, straight across, and down here and straight across. And I'm going to do this on both sides. So I have a whole nother side I'm going to do this on my other piece of canvas and my other pocket that looks like this, and use my other handle. Okay, so now that the handle and the pocket are in place, and you can see I put the handle all the way up here and not to here like in the previous instructions. So make sure you sew all the way up to about 1/2 inch below the top edge. And then, so the next thing we're going to do is add the base here. So what you want to do is take this strip, and you want to place it up here like this, and we're going to pin in place. We're going to sew all along here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then fold it down, press, and top stitch. So I'll come back and show you after I've done the top stitching. Okay, now you can see I have my 2 front pieces that are exactly the same. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the sides of them together. But you want to make sure that that your 2 base pieces are matching, are lining up. So we're going to just clip them together right there, and that really makes things look nice and more professional. We're going to clip them together, and on the other side too, I'm going to check and make sure that those 2 pieces are nicely lined up right there. And then we're going to sew down these 2 sides. So here is the exterior with the side seams sewn. You can see how nice and flush the 2 base pieces are, and how the handles come together nicely like this. And I think it's going to turn out really pretty. Again, the bottom is open. So now to create the interior, the lining of the bag, I want to have pockets in here to accommodate my different items for the picnic or the beach or whatever you're going to use this for. So the first pocket I'm going to do is just a really traditional. I took a piece of fabric that was the same width as my lining fabric, and then I took a piece of fabric that was it's about 18 inches. This is actually a fat quarter from Organic Cotton Plus. And so I folded it in half and pressed the seam, and then I fused interfacing to 1/2 of it, and then I just top stitched the top like this. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it right here, and I'm going to create pockets. I want some pockets for like my silverware and my napkins. So I think this will be a good pocket to do that. I'm going to divide this in half, and use my water soluble or air soluble disappearing ink pen. So I'm just going to mark right here, and then I'm going to do another mark. So now I'm going to divide this in half. So over at my sewing machine now, I'm going to sew down this line, and then I'm going to take a damp cloth, and I'm just going to pat that fabric, that ink be gone away. And that's going to make that really nice and easy. Now I have both the pockets attached, and you can see right here, you can see that the fabric is damp where I just used water to blot out those marks from the pen. And on this one too. And I'm just gonna, I also basted it all around here because on these large bags, I just like to baste so that I don't have to deal with seam ripping later if I miss a pocket or something. And then I'm just gonna put these 2 together, just like in the other bag, and just sew these 2 sides together, that's it. And then I'm going to show you how to, and then I'm going to set it aside, and we're going to make the base piece. And I'll be right back. Okay, here are the 3 pieces that are going to be the base to our bag. This is going to be the lining piece, and I do have a layer of fusible interfacing already put on the back of it. All 3 pieces measure 9 by 12. And what we're going to do is we're going to take them and we're going to curve the corners. It's just a 1-inch curve, so you can either draw with a pen, line it up. This is usually how I do it. I just kind of draw with a pen, make it a, I start at this 1 inch and I go all the way over to this 1 inch. And then what I do is I simply fold the piece into quarters and take my scissors and cut the curve. And that gives you a real nice even curve for all 4 corners. For this one, you just do the same thing. I'm going to baste these 2 together. So I'm going to do this when after I baste them together is when I'm going to cut the curves on that batting, just to make everything easier. So there you go. See, I drew it on there. I folded it in quarters. I cut my nice little curve there. So now I'm going to baste. So I'm going to sew, I'm just going to do a basting all around here and then cut off the corners after I do that. I basted the batting and the canvas together, and then I just wanted to double check that my 2 bases were the same size, and you can see that they're not exactly perfect. So I'm just going to take my rotary cutter here and match them up, and this just makes when you put the 2 layers of the bag together in the end, this just makes things a little bit nicer looking. So first we're going to do the exterior of the bag, and you want it turned inside out, and we're going to measure here. We're going to make some markings. We're going to measure it 4.5 here. We're going to measure all the middle areas. Okay, so we measured it 4.5 because it's 9 inches tall, and then down here where because it's 12 inches long, we're going to put a little measure mark right here and right here. Okay, and then on the bag, we don't have to measure the edges. We don't have to measure the 2 sides because the seams are going to do the measuring for us, but we do need to measure. We need to make markings for those other 2. And the way you do that is you put the seams together so they're nice and even, like this. And then this is where, that's right. So I just use my pen. I kind of go right inside, and this helps with pinning. Okay, and then we're just going to start by, you can either pin or clip here. I like using my clips. I'm going to clip here, and then I'm going to go directly to the other side, clip here, and then I'm going to clip. See these 2? This was the one we just made, and this one on this side right there. And finally, right here. And then just use your clips to mark all around. When you're doing these kind of bases, you always want to pin on the base side and then actually do your sewing on the other side so that you can get around these nice little corners easily without bunching up the fabric too much. Okay, here it is all clipped together, And now I'm going to go to the sewing machine and sew around. Okay, so I sewed the base on using the spots that we designated all around. And honestly, I have to show you, this was sort of hard because at first I kept blaming myself, but honestly I think it's this really loose weaved canvas fabric because it's all slippy and slidey, even with my clips and my walking foot. I had all sorts of problems where on this side it went fine because I have this layer of quilting cotton between them. So, but that's just the interior, and so if you happen to use the same exact fabric when you make this, you might want to do an easing. You might want to try to ease the fabric, and I can give you a link down in the comments about how to ease the bag, and that might have been a really good option to show you. Okay, so now the last step is to sew the two back together, and we're going to do that by putting the exterior inside the lining here, and we always line up our corners, pin, and a pin here, and then I'm going to go all around and line it up. And then then I'm going to make an opening in my lining. I like to do it, lately I've been doing my openings after I make the bag, and because I think it kind of looks better when you make the opening after, when you've already sewn it together. It kind of gives it some good memory. That sounds strange, but I'll show you after. So I sewed all around the top, and now I'm going to make this little opening here. I've already begun it right there. I just use my seam ripper to gently open, and then I'm just going to pull it out through this opening. It's not a huge opening, but it's big enough because we don't have a ton of interfacing in this. Here is our bag. Oh, it's so cute. I'm going to take it over and iron it, and then I'm going to after I do a nice pressing, I'm going to top stitch all along here to get a real nice top stitch. It's going to look great, and I'll be right back. Okay, I finished the bag, and it turned out so cute. I love the big thick handles. I think they're going to be really great for carrying, and they'll be nice and sturdy for toting so much stuff. The pockets turned out really great also. I love those. But you can see here how I hand close the opening with a coordinating thread, and then I have my pockets in there. Also the top stitching I wanted to show you real quick. When I top stitched, I went ahead and, you know, when we put on the handles, we stitched to about here and then went across and down here, so that when we put the two layers together, it was you were able to stitch along in here. So when I top stitched, I went ahead and top stitched over the top of these handles, and that really adds some extra sturdiness to the bag. So I top stitched all around here and here, as you can see. So I'm going to use it a few times and come back and finish up the video and let you know how it worked out. But I love how it looks, that's for sure.